Hey, what's going on everybody? This is mortalglitch, and I'd like to welcome you to World of Warcraft. This, of course, is WoW Legion, so to be honest, if you've known me very long, I have a love-hate relationship with this game. Started off back in vanilla, went through, played quite a bit, didn't really get serious into raiding or anything back in vanilla, and didn't do very many dungeons, just sort of played around with the game. It was an early experience with MMOs outside of stuff like Ultima for me. So I continued playing, got into Burning Crusade, got really into raiding in Burning Crusade, and also jumped into raiding in Wrath. Now, I spent way too much time in Burning Crusade raiding. I played quite a bit as far as Enhancement Shaman goes. But I've come back, I've checked out each update. None of them have really kept me that long. I've sort of goofed around with them as they come out. But Legion's turning out to be alright so far. And that's what I was wanting to do today, just basically go over some of the changes that have occurred in Legion, show you what's been happening, and just in general, cover how the game's going. Now, if you see here my lovely druid, Mr. Jamru, he is not yet max level, he's only level 101. So I'm not too far in the game, kind of a noob, but I'm enjoying it. Okay, so to start off with, I'd like to start off by going over the interface changes. Now, if you notice, interface kind of looks the same. Of course, I'm running a couple of mods. Got my heal bot, got recount. But you'll notice down here there's a couple of new buttons, especially if you haven't played for a while. Several of them are going to be new, like you have an adventure guide now that'll show you roughly where you should go. You can join random dungeons, skirmishes, and it gives you quick access to all of those. It also shows you all the dungeons that are available for Legion. You can switch it back to Warlords, Mist, etc. It'll show you all the raids that are available to you right now, and it'll show you loot. So it's pretty much like Atlas loot in the game. It'll tell you just the loot description. I don't believe it actually shows you where the items come from. But there's also the collections. If you haven't played a while again, this is going to be completely new. Back in Warlords, I believe it was, it may have came out in Mist, I'm not sure. But they added a collection section, so all of your mounts are shared amongst all your characters, so you can quickly access your mounts. There's a pet system in game, so you can access your pets. Got my little nether spawn here, spawn of the nether spawn. Never realized how redundant that was, but yeah. Got him. And also amongst the collections you have a toy box. This was also available in Warlords, where you can go through and as you collect special items that just do little things in the game, like shoot bubbles, you have access to that stuff there. Heirlooms was there as well. But this, I believe this is a new feature. It's an appearance section, so as you collect armor, you gain access to their appearance. So when you go to do a transmog to change your gear out to look like something different, you can go through and save the items in here. That way you don't have to keep all the items in your bank, which helps out tremendously as far as space goes. As you can see, I don't have too many, but you can go through, switch between them whenever you're at one of the transmog vendors, and it just makes things a little bit easier. You can go through, check out the different shoulders, different capes, etc. And as you get new items, it fills stuff out here. Alright, and they've also added other things. Some of the settings have actually been changed up for the interface as well, so I don't know why this one was really taken out, but there's no more option to actually go in and hide your helmet or cape. So if you want to do that, you actually have to go to a transmog vendor and make your stuff invisible. Alright, another section where things have changed a little bit is as far as your character info goes. Now, you actually have a item level. The game itself calculates it, so no more mods needed for that. So it sort of does like what the old gear score system used to do back when I was playing Burning Crusade. It takes everything's approximate item level and adds it up. So it's changed that out. They've also greatly simplified the attributes and enhancements, so you don't have to worry about keeping up with a ton of different crazy stats. And they've also done things... This isn't specific to Legion, but it's just how WoW works now. They've done things like, depending on your spec, is how your gear will look. So, as you can see here with this Warhide mask of the Fever Flare, it has 369 agility at the moment, but if I were to switch out to balance, it's going to turn into 369 intellect. They've also added it so you don't have to go back to your trainer to change specs. You can just go here, hit activate. There we go, it has switched me out to Boomkin, and as you can see, my gear has switched out. I now have 369 intellect versus 369 agility. Being somebody who is kind of ADD when it comes to their characters, being able to switch on the fly is pretty helpful. Especially if you carry certain gear to make up for the stuff that will not change. Like the necklace is still agility, the rings are still agility. Those don't switch out like your main core pieces, your leggings, your cape, chest piece, etc. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to Feral here, since it is my favorite to level with. And this is showing off something else new. Now, in Legion, I don't want to give away too much of the story if you actually want to go out and experience it, but you end up getting an artifact weapon once you come out to this particular area. Once you get the artifact weapon, specifically as a druid, it gives you a new form in whatever your primary spec is. I ended up getting the Fangs of Ashamain, and that one is the feral item. It's actually a set of 2 daggers, which seems kind of weird to a druid for me. I was always used to carrying a staff, but so be it. Once you get that, it changes your cat form, you gain the armor pieces. It even switched up my color a little bit. I used to be more of a tannish color cat, and now I'm purple, but whatever, still cool. And it makes your cat form look a lot more beastie. If I see one of the bears around, I'll show you one of the bears. They're actually pretty cool too. But yeah, that's the artifact weapon in a nutshell. Now, it starts off at a base level of 250, or not 250, Jesus, 750. And as you level, you end up upgrading the item. Now, this system is kind of weird. I'll go ahead and go into part of that now. Alright, so we're in a completely new area here, and what I'm going to be covering with this is actually going to be 2 parts. So, just to start off with, we have the Fangs of Ashamain. Like I was talking about, it's the artifact weapon that you upgrade as you go. You can shift right click to pull up your artifact menu. Now, as you put more stuff into it, you get more points out of it. It goes up in item level. And I don't fully understand this system yet. I know you can earn artifact points by killing random enemies. You'll get these little items that you can use to buff up your weapon. You grant it artifact power. Now, I found a lot of these when killing rare mobs, like any of the ones with the silver portrait ID. If you kill those, you're typically going to find one of those items. You can use it to get more artifact points. Like right now, you can see my artifact power is 20. And to upgrade it, I would need 350 artifact power. So once I get up to 350, I can go ahead and upgrade this, and that's going to upgrade the damage dealt by my rake by 14%. Now, there's also different trees and different paths you can take, depending on how you play your druid. Alright, the other thing I wanted to cover out here is the area I am in. Now, as you can see, if you go up here, we're in the Dream Grove. Now, this is what is called a class-specific area, or I forget how they specifically, or how they actually named it. But it's basically an area meant only for your class. So this is the area just for druids. I don't want to go too much into the story and spoil it if you want to experience that for yourself. But basically, all the druids come out here to gear up for the battle against the Legion. So you come out here, you have well-renowned characters like Remulos. Malfurion is... Actually, Malfurion's out with one of the other quests, but you have things like the Tree of Life. You have other characters that are kind of famous as far as the druid lore goes. So every class has a class-specific area that they can go to. Like for the Hunters, there's a Hunter's Lodge. The Death Knights actually just go back to... I forget what their area was called. Like Naxxramas. I don't believe that's correct, but... Yeah, each class has their own specific area. The warrior place is very cool. It's actually based around more like Viking lore. There's Odin and like the Valkyries flying around and stuff like that. It's really neat. But yeah, every class has this, and at those places you have a specific... Let's see if we can get up here to it. Every place sort of has a forge that interacts with your artifact weapon. So for the druids, it's this little bitty tree up here. You go up here, pull it up, and that's where you can go in and upgrade your weapon and spend your artifact power. There's also these little gems that you can attach to the weapon that will allow you to power up certain skills, like, as you can see, this item here, Frozen Moss of the Den. Gives you +4 item levels. It also gives you +1 rank in Sharpened Claws. Also have another one here which I cannot use because it is a shadow artifact, which gives me +2 item levels and +1 minor trait. I don't know how that would work unless it's specific to the class it's on, like if you gave it to a shadow priest or something, they may be able to do something with it. But yeah, that's the class specific areas. Alright, so each of the class-specific areas also has an area where you can go and recruit. Like here, I can recruit the Dreamgrove Treants, and I can use those in some of the missions. If you get to play Warlords of Draenor, there's a similar system here where you can go in and you can start missions, you can send characters out on missions, and they'll either bring back items or XP, or they'll level themselves up. Sometimes you can get little joke items, stuff like that. So if we go over here to the mission board, as you can see, I currently have one mission in progress, which is Border Reinforcements, which gives me player experience whenever they get back, if they complete it successfully. But I don't have too many combat allies, or allies in general, here. I think they're called champions. I don't have too many champions yet, but you can actually assign one to yourself, like Neralax here. If I'm not mistaken, that was the druid from Wailing Caverns in the Barrens. I may be mistaken on that, but yeah, you can actually add him to your assign a champion slot here, and he'll follow you around and help you out on quests and missions and stuff. Not sure how to get more champions yet. So far they've all been unlocked through quest. Now another thing I wanted to go over is the class changes. They've actually done quite a bit to every single class in the game. They haven't just added the Demon Hunter and left all the other classes the same. They tried to simplify a lot of the classes. Now they felt a lot of the classes had too many buttons, it seems, so they tried to combine a bunch of skills. They simplified some of the skill sets. Now Druid still has quite a few different abilities to them because they are supposed to be kind of a hybrid, but a lot of their skills were passed off to either passive or simplified or removed depending on your spec. Now, for druids specifically, like if you go over here to talents, this is my current setup, if you're wondering, by the way. Like I said, more focused on leveling now than anything else. But like with druids, they kind of did a throwback to the Burning Crusade druid design. As they were speccing out into the trees, you could sort of spec into a secondary skill tree that would allow you to customize your character more. Like for me, I picked the Restoration Affinity, which allows me to cast healing spells. Even though I'm a feral druid, I can still cast Rejuve. I get Swift Mend, which has saved me so many times. And you can also choose like the Guardian Affinity or the Balance Affinity if you want to, you know, sort of adjust your playstyle. So it kind of adds back in the feel that I had for druids in Burning Crusade, where, you know, you're in combat, you get hurt, you can cast an emergency root, back out, heal yourself, Swift Mend once it's ready to heal yourself pretty well, and jump right back into combat. So they've added more emphasis to druids actually being able to switch in and out of their forms once again, which is something I appreciate. Now, I do have some complaints about some of the class changes, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. But further proof that they're emphasizing more on being able to change in and out of your forms. You get skills like this. When you shapeshift out of cat form, you gain 100% increased dodge and armor for 5 seconds until you shapeshift back into cat form. This can only occur once every 30 seconds. Which that means, you know, you're in combat, you need to pick somebody up or cast a rebirth, whatever you need to do. You have 5 seconds to do it, then shift back to the cat, or else you're going to get mowed down. But they've done quite a few changes. For example, now, I switched out to my Warlock to show you some of the simplification I was talking about. As far as the Warlock skills, that's it. Not even 2.5 pages. Everything's been pushed off. Now, I am playing an Affliction Warlock, so they took away quite a few skills from it, so like I can no longer do Shadow Bolts or any of the direct damage spells. As far as the spells I can cast to do damage, this is pretty much it. These 5 skills down here, I mean, I have Seed of Corruption and a few other abilities that may allow me to do some damage temporarily, like I can summon the Infernal or the Doomguard. But yeah, those are my basics, basically tied down to 5 skills, making Warlock a very simple class to play. At least Affliction is, from what I can tell. Now, there may be more to it than that. Like I said, I'm kind of a noob, but yeah, they seem to have simplified it quite a bit. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I know it was getting kind of crazy. Some of the stuff was rather complicated. Even if we take a look at the Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter has a fairly simple skill set. Now, I'm not too familiar with all the different forms of Demon Hunter. There's only 2 specs they can switch between. You have Havoc, which is their damage spec, or Vengeance, which is their tank spec. I've been playing the tank spec. Haven't had any kind of problems leveling. They still crank out pretty good damage, as you would expect from a hero class. And so far, from what I've seen, I haven't gotten into the in-game stuff or anything like that, but they don't seem incredibly overpowered like the Death Knights did when they first came out. Like, when the Death Knights first came out, I remembered they were wrecking every single other class at the roles that they played. But Demon Hunter seems to be an alright tank, alright damage dealer. They're amazing at solo content because their self-heal is absolutely amazing, but yeah, Demon Hunter's pretty simple to play, easy to get into. 2 main skills. I mean, there's some movement god kind of stuff where you can jump. And this would look better if I wasn't in demon form. But you also have wings that you can temporarily spawn to fly around with. It's a quick overview of Demon Hunter, but like I said, not a crazy skill tree. Nothing like you were seeing at the end of Warlords of Draenor. There was quite a bit there. Alright, back on the druid here. Oh, hey, just completed a mission. We can go check that out. run over here to my mission board, see what's going on. Oh, I completed a mission. Oh no, I'm about to complete that one. It was just really, really close. I don't know what I completed then. Unless it was talking about my garrison or something. I think I left some missions completed there. Oh, yep, here we go. Completed one mission. I had a 110% chance to complete it. Let's see what I got. Got player XP. Got 30,400, oh, wow, 30,400 experience. Oh, this is one of the items I was talking about before. See, if you complete this mission, you get 150 artifact power. So this one...
Your spirit burns bright.
The wilds.
I have a 100% chance there, so I'm going to save my treants. I wonder if I can complete these without... Nope. Don't want to risk it even with a 45% chance. I don't have very good luck. Alright, so... as far as the changes, like the new content that's available, as you saw before, we were running around Dalaran. Dalaran's going to be your main hub in this version, or this expansion pack, I guess I should say. With Dalaran being the main hub, Dalaran has moved. Again, don't want to go into lore, but most of your content is going to be taking place on the Broken Isles, which is the new area for the Legion expansion. It's a couple of areas: Asuna, Valshara, High Mountain, and Stormheim, and Suramar. And then this area, the Broken Shore. It's kind of interesting because as you first get to your class hall, you'll be asked to pick where you would like to start questing. So the character that's standing there in front of the mission board, you'll go through, you'll click on the mission board, it's going to pull up a version of the map, and you pick where you would like to start. Now, I stuck to Valshara with this character just because that's where all the druids are set up and they're doing their quest, and I was trying to get more of the lore that way. But yeah, you can really pick anywhere, and depending on where you go, the enemies are kind of tailored to your level, which makes it a little interesting. So you'll be fighting mobs that for you are level 101, but if a 104 player shows up and they're doing the quest in that area, they're going to be level 104 for them. So I'm not really sure how that works system-wise, and that seems how it is, or that seems to be how it is. But it's a unique take on questing that's kind of a fresh approach to it. Alright, to show you an example, like this is one of the new areas, Valshara, I believe it's pronounced. And they've added new things as far as questing. Like I said, it's going to scale stuff to your level. Like as you can see, these beasts are, 101. Whereas if I came out here in a couple of levels, they would all be 103, 104. So they sort of keep pace with you that way. So you're out leveling in an area and you're killing monsters. Somebody decides to be a jerk, and they decide that they're going to run up and try to steal your kill. Now that they've changed some of the questing, it's not going to matter. They've made the system where if somebody runs up and tries to steal your kill, the kill will count for them, and it'll count for you. I don't know if there's a certain ratio yet. I haven't really paid attention to that, like you have to score so much damage on it for it to count, but it seems to count for both people. And I've noticed this mainly when the rare mobs end up popping up, the ones with the silver portrait. Once one of those shows up, you'll see a star appear on your mini-map. You can run up and fight them, and if somebody else runs in and starts fighting them, they're going to get credit too. So they'll get the kill and the item, you'll get the kill and the item. Now this is also true with a lot of the, I don't know if you'd call them quest bosses or quest specific characters, like if you have to go into a place and kill so many of a mob and then kill a special named monster, the credit's shared amongst everybody who actually participates in the fight against the named monster. As far as the crafting changes go, there's way too many to list. Again, they've made it easier to get back into crafting. For example, on my druid here, I've jumped back in. I only have 1 in leatherworking and 71 in skinning. I don't have to go start over at the beginning of the game to level up my crafting. Instead, I can just start anywhere. Like, for example, if I take this thing out, boom, 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 he's dead. I can skin it, I get the skill point off of it, and I get the leather. I'm not getting scraps like you did in Warlords of Draenor or previous. So it allows you to get caught back up on crafting pretty quickly. There's also special items that you get, like this one. I have to find 20 undivided hides, and it gives me a new leather technique, or skinning technique, which allows me to gather stonehide leather more effectively. So once I complete that, I'll actually be able to gather more than 1 leather at a time. I believe that's how that works. And I've been trying to keep myself in a slight media blackout as far as content, because with Warlords of Draenor, even before I played the expansion, I did so much research, and I just ruined the game for myself. I got into the argument of, oh, which class is going to be better than which class should I play based on statistics, and I just really ruined the game for myself, and I didn't want to do that with this one. I wanted to jump in with an open mind, not look too much into the reviews, and just go with it. So far, I've been having a lot more fun with the game that way. Now, I haven't got to experience the dungeon content yet. I'll be starting that soon. And I'm going to keep playing for the time being. I'm going to play it off and on. Not going to devote nearly as much time to it as I have in the past. But yeah, that is some of the changes going on with Legion so far. If you like the video, or if there's any specific content you would like to see, just let me know. I'll be happy to go in, take a look at it, see if I can make a video. But anyways, if you like the video, let me know. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Or hit me up on one of the social media platforms. I now have a Facebook page and a Twitter. Feel free to check those out. And if you're new here, want to see more content from me, go ahead and subscribe. Anyways, have a beautiful day.